When you have a loved one going through a dark time, I think it's a human condition in our flesh wants to allow us to feel hopelessness. And really, it's in those dark times, in those storms of life, that God is working and He's orchestrating. And the hopelessness that we want to tend to gravitate towards is not God's truth. That's just our own flesh. The Spirit wants us to hope and to hang on to God's promises.
Hi, I'm Jason LaRock, and this is my amazing wife, Janelle. And we've got 4 kids, Isaac, Max, Cooper, Faith. And we've been attending the church here on the corner for about 8 years. We've seen a lot of amazing things that God has done on this corner. And most recently through Vintage Grace, and God working in amazing ways through our niece, Alexa.
So Alexa, our niece, struggled with drug addiction from the time she was a teenager through her early 20s. And during that time period, she had many people praying for her, many people wanting to sponsor her to a different way of life. In one of her moments of sobriety, she had come to church with us. We brought her to Vintage Grace, and she was welcomed. And I think she was trying at that time to just, kind of search for something different in her life. But shortly after that incident, she went off the rails, and we didn't hear from her for probably 6 months this time. She had many people praying for her, family, obviously Vintage Grace. But she ultimately had to come back to California to face the music for the crimes that she had committed. She had been in county jail, and she just had to clean up some of her record. So she asked us if she could stay with us while she did those things. And of course we accepted and looked at it as an opportunity to just try to pour in as much as we could to her.
One of our favorite verses is Romans 10:17. Faith comes from hearing the message, and the message is heard through the word. So when she was living under our roof, and we can minister to her, and we can be in the word, it was obviously an amazing opportunity to get to her. But really it was her dad calling, said, "Hey Alexa, I want you to look up Romans 10:9. And it was the next day that she came to Christ. You never know what word is going to be the one that sits and resounds with someone. We can be in prayer, we can share the word, we can tell stories. There's all sorts of ways to minister to people. But I just think it's amazing the Holy Spirit worked through my brother at the right time, with the right word, which reached her. It's a beautiful thing.
And so that Sunday on July 16th, 2018, we did put together a quick baptism for her. Jason actually baptized her because we were kind of under the gun. We decided to go to church that evening to the Vintage Grace evening service. And one really cool part was at the very end, Pastor Drew was getting ready to pray, and he stopped and made reference to, of all verses, Romans 10:9. And we all sat kind of stunned, and just at the Holy Spirit that had orchestrated the whole week, and including the verse that her dad gave her.
So Alexa was baptized, and she did her time in jail, and she's since moved to Texas. She's living with family out there, and she's doing great. She recently called and said she's the happiest she's ever been.
We continue to pray for her. It's not easy. The road to recovery is not easy, but she's got Jesus in her life now.
Have you accepted Christ Jesus as your Lord and Savior?
I have.
Upon your profession of faith in Christ Jesus as your Savior, I baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.